Well, I'm not saying either team is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But if you just observe in the game, who looked like the 1-8 team and who looked like the 5-4 team?
Right.
It looks like the scripts would have been flipped based on what just occurred today and how we played. And I was really shocked. I'm going to get into this, how we stopped Donald. Because that cat, he's been like the poor man Jonathan Taylor from the Colts.
Right.
Where he's been gashing people. Well, I mean,
there were moments, but not enough here.
Yeah, no, he did not gash the Saints. Look, when you hold him to 2.9 yard average, no, I'm gonna get more into it. No, he's been gashing people. Packers, whoever you might look at. No, we look like the 5-4 team instead of the 1-8 team. So, we've played Carolina a lot. Look, NFC West, NFC South. It's been, part of Saints and Panther football. You got to go back to 1995. So you're talking about over a quarter of a century, basically 30 years. We've played 61 games. It was like flip a coin. We won 31, they won 29. Now we got a big lead. We won 32, and they've won 29. And now on the road in Charlotte, Carolina's been kind to us. Whenever you're in the National Football League and you have a winning record on the road, that speaks volumes. It was 15-15. Now we've won 16 games in Carolina and have lost 15. So you might say, well, Bobby, that's not that impressive. Yes, it is, because it's hard to win an NFL game, hard to win on the road, and we took advantage of that. I would say that we finally, how I describe it, played winning football. Well, you might say, oh, Bobby, it's not always about the numbers, but if you play the percentages and you look game in and game out, the numbers do matter. And what you doing on third down? How you possessing the football? Are you winning or losing the turnover margin? Notice some crazy things that happened in the game, but the Saints still ended up +1 in the turnover margin. I thought it would take that to win the game. We both came into the game -4. And talking with Jake DeLong, we said, well, who's going to be on the plus side? Is Carolina going to be +1? Are we going to +1? That could be the difference in the game. And it was. You might say, well, Bob, we got to score more than 17 points. We'd have to score more than 17 if they only scored 7. I thought it would be like more 17-13 game. Saints can win that kind of game. I was hoping. But we won 17-7. No, it was. We finally got to talk about what winning football is. And you might say, well, Bobby, you've been hard on Chris Olave. Well, yes, I've been hard on him because he's wide receiver 1. He's supposed to do what he did today. He has to do what he did, what Chris Olave did today, and you play in 17 games. I'm not saying you got to do it every game, but you got to do it double digits. Then you consider it amongst the best, and then you get paid $20-something million a year, and no one's bitching about it. He had the game what we expect from Chris Olave.
Finally got over 100 yards.
5 catches, 104 yards, and a 21-yard average per reception, long gain of 62. And 1 touchdown, and he beat J.C. Horn, who was better than a Pro Bowl. He's like an all-pro corner. So for him to have success against a guy like J.C. Horn, that has to help Chris Olave's confidence going forward. And Juwan Johnson, not only targeted, but catching it and not fumbling. We need that from him. 92 yards receiving, a long gain of 52. Again, winning football. We finally had a bunch of chunk plays, splash plays. We had like 62-yard gain by Olave, 52-yard gain by Juwan Johnson. I don't know. We ran a screen with Kamara.
I was getting all flush.
Yeah, plus 26. Boy, what is that, Drew Brees and Sean Payton back there? No, Kellen Moore and the Shuckster. Shuck and jive. He was jiving today. He was, look at that quarterback rating of 128.9, 129. I mean, that's winning football. Shuck keeps playing like this. We're not drafting a quarterback. I can tell you this right now coming in the spring. If he builds upon this and finishes, because the season's basically halfway over, but what if he plays like this level? Mm-hmm. They go, oh, no, we found our quarterback. It's our poor man version of Drake May. The Patriots found their guy, Drake May. Well, we find it in Tyler Shough. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just telling you, basically, what he went today. I'm glad we have Tyler Shough instead of Lil Bryce Young. Bryce Young, 124 yards. They beat the Packers last week, And they ran for more yards than they throw in this day and age. Now, he had a quarterback rating of 63. So, Tyler Shough looked way better than Bryce Young when you consider. So, bang for your buck. Now, I'm going to start with like third down conversions because we were not doing that. How are you going to dictate the ebb and flow of a game and the tempo if you cannot convert on third down? You don't always have to be at 50%, but you got to be right where we're at. This is where we need to be or better. And then you move in the sticks, and you're going to control time possession, and you can dictate the outcome of the game. Now, obviously, if you're not turning over the football. But we were 8 of 17, 47%. Came into the game, we were only 37%. Yes, I'm telling you, that's monumental difference on third down. We were outstanding. Defense, we were outstanding on third down. And that has to continue. We've been getting better and better. We came into the game giving up 38.5%. Today, we only gave up 33%. They were 3 of 9. The only negative I could see is, I don't know, when you get the ball on the 2-yard line, first and goal, we got a score at the beginning of the game, and we had to settle for a field goal. That you should never want to settle for a field goal, but I guess you got to take the points. You don't want like your kicker to have like a 21-yard field goal good. It's like an extra point. No, we got to get that in the end zone. We end up being 0 for 2 in the red zone. That's not good. Now, total net yards again. We look like the team that was 5-4 instead of having only one win. More than 2-1. We had the ball total net yards 388 to their 175. What I always tell you about offensive plays, you got to have at least 65 plays. I'm not saying you got to be so prolific that Bob, we got to have way more than 65. No, I'm just telling you NFL how tough it is, pros versus pros. You got to have at least 65. We had 67. Compared to last week, is that a monumental difference?
Right.
You know how many plays they had? They went close to 65. They had 50 plays. Well, you know one reason? They were 3 of 9, 33% on third down. So not controlling the tempo. This was outstanding. So I'd say that very good offensive plays. I said outstanding on not the average. We attempted to rush the football. But you can, how we finished the game. You know, you might talk about 2-minute offense and all that. You can even stretch it like 4 or 5-minute offense. There's nothing better as a professional football player if you're on offense and the opponent's trying to play catch up, even if they within one score and they don't get the ball back. You just win the game and run out the clock. That's the most humbling you can do to an opponent when they know they got to stop you, but then they don't stop you. And so, therefore, like 37 rushing attempts. Now, I wish it'd be 4.3 yard average instead of 3.3, but Kellen, we ran the football. 37 rushing attempts. I think we should never have less than 28. I think it should be 30 plus. Again, that's the quarterback's best friend to help out Tyler Shough. Well, what they do, they're a running team. And now, obviously, they're behind to play catch up. They only had 23 rushing attempts. That's not good. And only 73 yards, and they averaged 3.2 yards an attempt. But more importantly, Rico Dotto, 53 yards, 2.9.
Big win for the Saints.
You might say, well, Bob, was Rico Dotto that good? Hell yeah. Look what he was doing. Dotto was averaging, he had 330-plus games in 2025. You know he's the only NFL running back to do that? The whole league. 3 games over 130-plus yards. And what he had against the Saints, 53. Man, I was a little worried sometimes about our run defense. I like our goal line defense. Remember in the Dome, that great goal line stance we had? But the run defense was outstanding. And you have to look, the last 5 games, yes, Donald was averaging 6.3 yards a carry.
Not so fast,
today,
you would say.
He averaged 2.9. Win. Winner, chicken dinner, when you look at that. Now, again, you look at the turnover margin. We +1. Now we -3 for the season. At one time, we were +5 after the Giants game. So we got to keep. We play in Atlanta in the Dome after the bye week. Well, somehow, Shough, don't fumble the ball. Receivers, running back. Shough, nobody in the pocket. Protect the football. And we got to continue to take it away and be in the plus side. You mean a close game? It's amazing how much you win. I think like in the NFL, if you're like +2, Now, we were only +1. You win like 80-some% of the time.
And just think, there was an interception that should have been, could have been.
Oh, Demario Davis at the beginning of the game.
And then Reed had the face mask penalty, and then the other one was the crazy, the turnover with the punt.
Yeah. But going back to the interception about Demario Davis, here, that enabled them to even take a 7-0 lead. They went 12 plays, 67 yards, ate up 7 minutes. I go, oh, no, here we go again. Here we go again. Because we've been outscored in the first quarter, 82-19 through 10 games. I go, it's going to be the same song and dance. They got a 3rd and 9. Demario Davis makes a very athletic, awesome interception. Justin Reed roughing the passer. No, you can't touch his face mask. Now, on the roughing the passer later on Demario Davis, I don't think he hit him in the head.
He kind of pushed him to the ground. That was it.
Like maybe in the shoulder area. Little Bryce is so little that, you can't tackle him because, you roughed him up too much. I
didn't like that at all.
I thought that was bogus. But again, you know how we got shellacked in time of possession against the Rams? Well, this is winning football. We had the ball almost 7 minutes more than Carolina. So, again, the ebb and flow of that. Now, looking at our individual runners and passers and the receivers, I like Alvin Kamara. Okay, he had the game of his life last year in Charlotte, so he has to love Charlotte. He might even take a vacation there and when he's retired just because he had such fond memories there against Carolina. Do you know it was his highest game in the history of him playing professional football? He had 215 total yards of scrimmage last year in Carolina, but we lost. Remember, 24-23. And then Dennis Allen got fired the next day when we gave up that fourth quarter lead. But today, I said this in the pregame. Said he had 215 last year. Man, the way it's going, I would just take 115. What? I don't know. I'm like Notre Dame. I'm like, what? He had exactly 115.
The football god smiled upon you and said, wish granted.
He had 115 total yards from scrimmage. I always would rather him be hovering around. This would be a young Alvin, 125, 130.
Now you get greedy.
But he had 83 yards rushing. He contributed 3 targets, 3 receptions. He had that screenplay, 26 yards, so enabled him to have 115 total yards from scrimmage. Now, Charlie's the real prophet. If Charlie would have known this, he might have put a little coin on the Saints.
Charlie Long with stat of the day.
This is the stat of the day, and if you're a Carolina fan, that you don't want to be favored. You don't want to be favored in any game because you won't win. You might go over. Since 2021, it's now Carolina Panthers are 0-11 when they've been favored to win. Well, Bobby, they were 5-4 this season. Yeah, and they were underdogs in 9 straight games. So they were favored to beat the Saints by 5.5, and they lost. So now they're 0-11. So if I'm a Carolina fan, I do not want to be favored in a game. That's not good mojo. But I just thought, again, we look like the 5-4 team versus Carolina.
Agreed.
Only with the 1 win. Now, defensively, Demario Davis combined tackles led the team with 7. Usually always has double digits. He was at 7. I thought Pete Werner flashed at times, maybe more in the first half where he had 6 total tackles. You gave a game ball to Alontae Taylor. But we need Alontae Taylor. He's supposed to be our alpha dog in the secondary. Yep. Now, not Kool-Aid and all them. Kool-Aid was active, but he get picked on a little bit. He had 6 total tackles. But Alontae Taylor, 5 total tackles. He was tied with McKinstry with the individual tackles with 4. But yeah, tackle for loss, pass defended, and an interception. That was a terrible pass by Bryce. But if it hits your hand, you got to catch it. And Alontae Taylor did. It was really a diamond in the rough again. Steve, he would be like Jonah Williams. Not Jonah been eaten by the whale, but Jonah Williams, who's now in the rotation. He had a quarterback hurry. Who's a version of him, gets more reps? Nathan Shepard.
Nate Shepard had a good day.
Nate Shepard, if you look at it, he had a sack, he had a quarterback hurry, a tackle for loss. Same numbers, tackles with 2 tackles as Cam Jordan. They both ended up with a sack and a quarterback hurry and a tackle for a loss. I like this jackrabbit, Stallbird from South Dakota State. He's our new version. If you look at our Warriors on special teams, Chris Banjo. You remember we had him? He was like the ace on special teams, kind of at a Pro Bowl level. Now, I don't know if Stallbird's there. Special teams aren't that good enough yet. But we had Chris Banjo, and who's the guy we just left? We let go to the Ravens in the secondary. He was
J.T. Gray.
J.T. Gray. So yeah. So Stallbird is the new like J.T. Gray. 2 unassisted tackles on special teams. Now I think Cesar Ruiz at times struggled to block Derrick Brown, to say the least. But a lot of people struggle against him. He had 9.
Right.
Why run right? Like, dude, we didn't run left. We trying to force the issue. I don't care if Cesar Ruiz is drafted in the first round. Derrick Brown's kicking his butt. He had 9 total tackles, had a tackle for loss. So looking at the mismatches in the game, obviously, to me, this is a better win than the Giants, because the Giants turned over the ball in 5 straight possessions. Now, we should have won by way more.
Right.
I don't care if it was in the Dome for the home folks and all that. This was more a convincing win where you feel so good about yourself. I've been there. Going into a bye week with a win. You feel like going to restaurants in New Orleans, and people will tell, "Oh man, that was a good game you all had." Now, so then you tell them, "Well, we're going to build on that.
Get them birds next time you guys are back."
Yeah, we stayed in the NFC South with 4 of the next 5 games, all NFC South games. And people might say, "Well, Bobby, what does that really mean in the big picture? We are about championships, man. Come on, we got to take baby steps right now. We just trying to win a game, and then win some games where you can be relevant and have a chance for the postseason." I don't know. It just feels better to win than to not win. And then when you look at it, Bobby, but you look in the draft, where are we picking? It's a lottery. That means you're going to pick the right person, or who? And right now, if Tyler Shough, what he's going to do, let him build upon what he did this game. I mean, if he can do that, we ain't drafting no damn quarterback. What quarterback in college right now would play better than Tyler Shough played today? What guy in college who if you could tell me they have a guy in college right now that would have played better against Carolina than Tyler Shough did today.
Right.
And it all started because it could have went downhill. You know when it started? And we losing 7-0.
That third down?
And it could have been a 3-and-out. It was 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
Shough to Juwan Johnson, plus 52, great sack avoidance, pocket presence, and all that. No, that just shows you the little things, something as simple as that. Because if he'd have took a sack, how fans look at it, oh, the offensive line's terrible, they can't block. But what if the offensive line's terrible and maybe you can still avoid the sack and make a big play? Oh, then it might be something really special. So I think a great win. Now, obviously, you get a little spoiled when you want a prolific offense. But to me, 17-7, because it's good for our defense and how we're still to control the tempo of the game. I'd rather win 17-7 than win 38-31. I'd say, okay, we scored, but our defense can't stop nobody. How many times we seen us hovering around 500 with Drew Brees? Around 14, 15. Remember those seasons around there where we were like hovering around 500? And if we didn't have Drew Brees on offense, we'd have won like 3 or 4 games maybe because our defense was so bad. No, we need to play complementary football, and we finally did that today, where our offense and defense helping out. Now I'm going to break down the game more as we go on with the point after, but they had some weird calls. And, Cam Jordan being the veteran, I mean, I'm so confused. I don't know if I've ever really witnessed that. Man, we blocked the field goal and we don't get the ball back. But you can't attempt, I guess, to pick it up like Cam did, and he touched it. You almost have to say like you say on punt. You know when a ball's punted and you on the return team and it's a shank or bad punt and everyone's hollering, Peter, Peter, Peter. I don't know why they came up with that. That's a universal term. Peter, Peter, Peter means get away. The ball's right on top of you.
Maybe the first person to mess it up was Peter.
Yeah, it might have been. That's all the term. Peter, Peter, like watch the ball's going crazy. Where it's going to bounce and deflect off you. But Cam, I thought, boy, that's some bad luck. I mean, here you got Nathan Shepard coming in there. Awesome play. I just mentioned Nathan Shepard. Yeah. Blocking the field goal. And they get the ball back? They got to change that rule somehow. Now I could see if Cam would have picked it up.
And then fumbled.
Fumbled. Yeah, that's different. But it seemed like he never possessed it. To me, but
that's definitely one of those play you've never seen before in your entire career.
No, because like Coach Moore said, as a football player, it's almost instincts. Oh, the ball's on the ground. Let me pounce on it. And then you don't recover. Then it was like, oh, now what in the hell just happened? And then again, like Demario Davis, a great interception. And then we got a penalty. But I didn't go over the penalty. Let me go over that right quick. No, you mean Carolina was playing that discipline? They had one penalty for 5 yards?
And it was right at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, we had 6 for 60. We had a couple of stupid penalties, that could cost you. But I kind of like this, though. If the crew's going to do this, I'd rather them call only 7 penalties instead of 17 or 15. You get too many flag-happy officials just throwing flags.
It felt like the game moved. It went by quick today.
Yes, I like that. Only 7 penalties, but some bizarre plays. But, again, Saints win. And going into the bye week, there's no greater feeling as a pro football player when you go in to a bye with a win. You just feel better about yourself. Got a little swag in the locker room. You feel more confident. And Atlanta coming to town, what better a way after a bye week to have some confidence going into the Atlanta game? And they coming off a heartbreaking loss that they lost in overtime to the Colts.
Boo-hoo.
And so I don't know what Atlanta team's gonna show when we play them after the bye, because they got some talent, but they underachieve. Like for instance, this Carolina team, Atlanta had went to Minnesota and spanked the Vikings in Minnesota. And then they played Carolina and lost 30-0. Does Carolina look like they can beat anybody 30-0? No. So you never know. It's the NFL again. Parity, it's with pro football players. But no, I think the Saints have a great opportunity, if they play like they played today, to win 2 in a row. When you say that, that's not far-fetched. Well, what's Atlanta's record right now? They got to be now. They under 500.
Yeah, Dirty Birds are 3-6 right now.
Oh yeah, 3-6. Well, we won 2 games, but they won 1 game more than us.
And we're shucking and jiving.
Yeah, we're shucking and jiving because Tyler Shough. Yes, the Oyster Man is doing awesome. Yeah, he's going to be invited to the Croatian Oyster Festival for sure. He keeps having these kind of performers. They'll make him an honorary Shuckster for life. Simply based on this performance. But yeah, big win for the Saints. 17-7. And I always say this is 2 for 1 because it's a division opponent. It's Carolina. And this is one thing, as great as Sean Payton and Drew Brees and all was, they dominated Tampa Bay
they were definitely
and the Falcons.
On the side, right.
But Carolina, that was a 50-50 ordeal with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Flipping a coin. And Jake kind of said, yeah, but some of those wins by Carolina at the end, the Saints
That's when they had that guy Luke Kuechly around who was a pain in the butt.
Yeah, who could Drew said could predict the plays they were running.
Right.
He was that smart. So yeah, definitely a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But I don't know. Just looking at Carolina, I don't care now they're 5-5. I mean, we only won 2 games, but I think we're better than Carolina. We beat them head to head. I guess your record is what it is. What it says you are, But I'm encouraged by this win. And I don't know if the fans really embraced it. Now, what you got to go do to get the fans on board is no. And I'm glad one time we won. We won this game so before we come to the Dome in Atlanta, because we wouldn't have had a good showing. No, throw those bags away.
Sure.
Put it in the recyclables. In the garbage bag, put it in the recyclables whenever it comes by your house. You don't need to put no damn bag on your head. No, the Saints play like this. No, it ain't. This does not warrant bag wearing. So that's a good thing. Because once you win a Super Bowl, no, you got to forget those bags. And you can be demanding. They're professionals. They get paid a lot of millions of dollars, a lot of these players. So you can be demanding. Now, hopefully they have a good showing, and it's going to be Tyler Shough's first game at home. I'm going to tell you, this is one thing. You could be, as a quarterback, more and just the pressure, because you want to play so good for the home folks, that don't put any added pressure on yourself. You go on the road, everybody's against me good, and you just foot loose and fancy free, and just, hey, I'm just going to play. And you're on the road, hostile environment, versus you're at home and everybody's behind you. So you want to do so good, so you kind of pressing sometimes. And you don't want to do that. So hopefully he'll be encouraged by the home crowd. And if our defense has this kind of outing like they had today, no, if our defense plays like this, come on. We gave up 7 points. You should never lose. I don't care who we were playing, AFC, NFC. Now, I don't think that'd be the case. Like, we couldn't hold the Rams to 7 points. But if we ever did, Shame on the offense if we don't win. I don't care how good the opposing defense is. If our offense, to me, in the games going forward, if we can hold anybody in the teens, our goal should be that we're going to run the table. Like if we're giving up 17 points the rest of the season, well, we should win. Come on, offense. You got to pull your weight and stuff. So I don't know, but very encouraged by this win today against Carolina, 17-7. A very convincing win. As much as it was a negative and unconvincing loss, unconvincing, yeah, because we didn't win against the Rams. As I don't know, to me it just shows you how much better like the Rams are than the Saints in Carolina.
No, looked like we belonged on the same field with them.
Yeah, where it was totally different today. But who knows who belongs on the same field? Didn't the Dolphins beat the Bills today? But the Bills never play good in Miami. But just look at that outcome. Oh, the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. You know, I wonder if the Dolphins ran on them today. Because I wasn't impressed with that Bills defense, how we gashed them.
Yeah, that was 30-13 Miami.
Yeah. I mean, what, did Tua just go off or something? I mean, so you never know. It's the NFL. I'm telling you, you always have one game you look at like, whoa, what? Like you looked at the game last weekend. Carolina beat Green Bay. Ain't Green Bay? Whoa. And then the Dolphins beat the Bills? Aren't the Dolphins trying to play for the number one pick with the Jets and maybe the Saints something?
Right.
No, it's pros versus pros again.